What is up, guys? There's a lot to talk about. Australia makes history with HBAR, XRP, Stellar, and Solana. We've got Prime making waves with Coinbase. Then we've got Canton Network. Ethereum applications are on Canton now. Cardanoada payments are being enabled in Switzerland shops. And we'll talk about how it is a tokenization win for Ondo and the US Fed. So, look at this. This was posted a few days ago, guys. Australia and XRP Ledger made history with the country's first licensed digital dollar, 4th March. This happened a few days ago, but now things are moving at a rapid scale, at a rapid pace. Look at this. Australia officially approves regulated digital dollar on XRP Ledger. Major banks can now use XRPL for payments. Basically, this is great because now XRPL is now gaining credibility and legitimacy in Australia. Australia has officially approved an Australian financial services license to AUDC, turning its AUDD stablecoin into a fully regulated, basically a stablecoin. Look at this. AUDD is an Australian dollar-backed stablecoin issued by AUDC Pti Limited, the Australian Securities and Investments Commission, the country's primary financial regulator, granted AUDC an Australian financial service license. And this does not stop with XRPL. Look at this. Let me show you guys. Yeah, where is it? Yeah, over over here, yeah. The stablecoin had already been live on several networks, including Ethereum, Stellar, Solana, Hedera, and the XRP ledger, before securing this full license. Now the full license has been granted, guys, and this means that XRP, HBAR, Stellar, they can all now basically have a legitimate stronghold in Australian regulated market. So this is really good. Meanwhile, the Prime clients now have access to the full contract suite from Coinbase derivatives. This includes Nano BTC and Ethereum futures, as well as Solana and XRP contracts available 24/7 in a CFTC regulated environment. The key point over here is the CFTC regulated environment. If you remember Brett Garlinghouse being selected by CFTC in its advisory council, ever since that has happened, we're seeing much more lighter Ripple and institutional terms. First, we had that backlash from SEC, and now we're seeing the institutions, they are really, really opting for Ripple and its solutions. So this is really good. And Coinbase, obviously, it is making a name for itself in the regulated market exchanges. So this is really good. Meanwhile, Ripple is now working through the OCC's final pre-opening requirements for Ripple National Trust Bank. If those are cleared and the OCC grants permission to open, Ripple would become a federally regulated US trust bank. Officially a bank, officially a US trust bank. We always talked about how Ripple and its technology, its network XRPL are working to change banks, are working to integrate with banks. Now we're over here. We're talking about how it can become a regulated US trust bank, allowing it to provide regulated custody and financial infrastructure for institutions directly inside the US banking system. It does not stop over here. The former Ripple and executive and Evernorth founder Ashish Birla explains why the real-world asset tokenization on the XRP ledger is the next big frontier. This is about the evolution from simple payments to complex assets. This evolution requires a good change of the game, and that is what XRPL provides. The gold standard. Birla notes the XRPL was tokenizing gold in its earliest days. The tech has been ready for over a decade. For over a decade, guys. We're not only talking about today. It has only been delayed for such a long time. Validation. BlackRock and Franklin Templeton are officially in the game. Catalyst regulation is finally catching up to the technology, and it is happening. The infrastructure was built years ago. Now we're seeing the aftershocks.
RP and XRP ledger. Do you really feel that tokenizing real world assets is necessary and on the XRP ledger? Do you think we're just forcing some things?
Well, I will let the numbers speak for themselves. And if you look at tokenized value on blockchains of real world assets, that chart is growing.
Yeah.
And I think that with the right kind of regulation, that will only accelerate. And so, hey, like you start with one use case. Amazon started with books, and then you sort of build out from there. And I think that's what you're seeing in blockchain. I think starting with simple use cases like payments, you let the liquidity build, you let regulation come, and then you start branching out into new assets. And new assets or new kinds of products. Tokenized value is not a new thing to blockchain. I think what is new is that institutions are interested. So you're seeing Franklin Templeton tokenize, you're seeing BlackRock tokenize, and the regulation. So again, the technology was there for tokenization. XRP, you could tokenize a lot of things, and XRP tokenized gold in the early days. So the technology was there, but the regulation wasn't there. And now that the regulation is starting to come to fruition, you're going to actually see, in my opinion.
So now that the institutions are here, regulations are here, we are bearing fruits. Meanwhile, Ethereum applications are on Canton via Zenith. Look at this. Today we announced the launch of Zenith, the protocol that brings Ethereum applications to Canton through a bytecode compatible Ethereum execution environment and soon expands to Solana EVM compatibility. So not only Ethereum, expanding to Solana as well. So Solana is a really great project when it comes to institutional adoption. It is making waves for itself. Canton Solana collaboration somewhere down the line. I think that it can be a game changer for Canton network and utility crypto in general. Look at this. Zenith brings Ethereum applications to Canton, extending Canton network with an EVM environment followed by CVM soon after, and allowing application developers to tap into trillions of institutional dollar volume and earn Canton app rewards. In my opinion, this is a rather underrated and one of the best developments happening for Canton over here. What do you think? I would like your opinions as well. Eric Saraniaki, head of network strategy at Digital Asset, says, and we quote, Zenith's addition of atomically composable EVM and planned SVM execution expands Canton's capabilities in a way that can increase network utility. It enables developers to deploy Solidity applications that can interact atomically with Canton-based infrastructure, bringing established financial building blocks to institutional grade rails already operating at significant real world volumes. You're talking about real world use cases. Here it is, guys. Canton, Ethereum, Solana. It cannot get any bigger than this, to be very honest. Meanwhile, look at this, the privacy changes, what can operate on chain. We'll talk about Circle, Canton. You all is basically talking about that. Look at this.
And it really leads to a fundamental rethink about what it means to be connected to these ecosystems and how you interact with them.
Another point that you're seeing as very popular now is the conflation between zero knowledge and privacy. Maybe that's an important thing to distinguish, is that we don't consider zero knowledge as a privacy solution. It's an anonymity solution. It's a way to obfuscate the inputs from everyone involved in the transaction. And again, if you bring it back to, I give this example, imagine you had a zero knowledge algorithm called Sam Bankman-Fried, which you just give it collateral, and Sam Bankman-Fried tells you, great, we have the collateral. It's here. It's with us. Until you have the market meltdown and you need to call on that collateral, And then you find out that there was a bug into zero knowledge and the collateral is actually never there. To us, that is not privacy. That, if anything, opens the door for systemic risk within the system because we know there's always bugs. I think one of the critical things that we've been thinking about is privacy is how do you make sure that only the stakeholders to the transaction have full visibility into what's on the ledger, where those that are not stakeholders to the transactions just actually don't know said activity have happened on the ledger. And I think that that's a very big difference. And I think the reason why ZKPs are now being pushed as a privacy solution is because it's a nice bolt-on on ledgers that haven't thought of privacy from first principles as like an anchor tenant in their design. And it's much more comfortable now to add zero knowledge as an afterthought.
So to bring this to life, maybe on how this would work on the chain itself, say I am moving treasury collateral over to you guys, what would the public see on the blockchain itself when I'm making that collateral movement?
They wouldn't. This is really the nice thing about Canton.
Canton has really brought privacy to life, that how privacy is really important for institutional adoption, and they are carrying it forward as well when it comes to stablecoin solutions, when it comes to any solutions. They are keeping their core fundamentals intact. Meanwhile, this is great for Cardano holders, the ADA enthusiasts. Look at this. Cardano and DFX Swiss bring ADA payments to 137 SPAR stores in Switzerland, guys. ADA is now accepted at 137 SPAR stores in Switzerland and Liechtenstein. DFX Swiss uses Open Crypto Pay to process ADA payments in real time. Merchants receive Swiss francs even when customers pay with ADA. So now this is a real integration in the Swiss infrastructure, that when merchants receive Swiss francs, even when customers pay with ADA, they receive that. So this is the crypto integration, crypto utility we're talking about, and this is practical example of that. Open Crypto Pay already supports Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDC, USDT, and DAI, and now we are talking about ADA. Cardano has entered a wider retail payments network in Switzerland. ADA can now be used at 137 SPAR stores across Switzerland and neighboring Liechtenstein. This is really great for Cardano utility arena because the move places Cardano in a live retail setting that already supports several digital assets. Now we're talking about an asset that is ISO 20022 compatible. So really great. Meanwhile, look at this. In a win for Ondo, according to Wildly Bullish over here, the US Fed, OCC, and FDIC jointly clarify that tokenized securities will receive the same capital treatment as traditional securities. Look at this. Agencies clarify the capital treatment of tokenized securities. A security is often referred to as tokenized when ownership rights in the security are represented using distributed ledger technology. The answers to the frequently asked questions clarify that an eligible tokenized security should generally receive the same capital treatment as the non-tokenized form of the security under the capital rule. So basically, this further clarifies the tokenization debate, and it provides clarity to projects such as Ondo as well in their pursuit to tokenizing so many different sectors. Basically, the ruling applies to all permission or permissionless blockchains. So, guys, what do you guys think about these updates? Australia, XRP, HBAR, Solana, Canton's integration with Ethereum and Solana, ultimately Cardano being opted for payments, and tokenization being evolved. I would really like your opinions, and if you're interested in regular utility crypto coverage, do subscribe the channel and smash the notification icon. Until next time, stay blessed.